Hello, data lovers. It is Merdad. Welcome to my channel and the second episode of Azure Data Fundamentals course, which we talk about data storage options, certainly on file storage and file formats. So let's unpack this session and see what it has for us. So we learned that organizations store their data in the formats of structured, semi-structured, or unstructured. And they will store them to record the details of entities like customers, products, and also specific events like sales orders. They store it to retrieve them in the future for analysis and reporting. There are two options to storing this data. They can either store them as file, and it can be also stored as databases. Let's see what we have in the file storage. So basically for the file storage, we need to store this data somewhere. So where we store that? The first option that we have is our local hard drive in our computers, in the laptops, and also we have the removable media like USB drives, right? And the third one, when we are connected to a network, it can be stored in a shared file storage. And ultimately, we will have the cloud storage. Why we should store our data in the cloud? It is going to be basically a central location for all data that is going to enabling the cost effective and also secure our data for sure. And it will be a reliable storage for large amount of data. And in what format we are going to store them? So it depends. We have to just have some factors to be considered when we want to choose a right format for storing our files. That one of them, what type of data we have? Is it structured data, semi-structured, or unstructured data? What applications are going to utilize that data for reading, writing, for accessing? Do we need them to be readable by human? And or we need them to be optimized for storage and also for processing. So let's see what file formats are available for us and what are the common file formats in the IT world. So the first file format that I want to explain is delimited text files, that they are going to be stored as a plain text, but they will have a specific delimiter, field delimiter, and also row terminator. And in the first line specifically, sometimes, most of the time, you can find the field name at the first line of each of these files. And some examples and common formats that we see are the CSVs, TSV, and fixed with data. On the CSVs, which is a comma separated values, as we can see, we have each field name or field value followed by a comma, and the next field is going to be added after that, and it will be terminated. The row is going to be terminated by enter a new line to start the second record to the next record. For the TSV, it is a tab separated values, which for each field it has a tab. So where the application is saying a tab, it means that this field is finished and the next field is going to be started. And the next one will be the fixed with data, that for each field we have a certain number of fields, for example, and certain number of characters,
For example, for first name, here we have 6 characters for the first name and 8 characters for surname. So this type of file format is a good choice for structured data where we have fixed schema for the fields, and it is actually accessible by a wide range of applications to read and write, and of course it is readable by human. The next file format that I want to talk about is JSON. It is also a plain text. It is stored as a plain text, but with a hierarchical, document schema to just store the entities. For example, as you can see in the file here, we have for the customer, we have first name, last name, and then we have a contact list. For the contact list, we have another array of type and numbers. So each data entity or each instance of that entity has multiple attributes. For example, here we have first name, last name, and contact and each of them represents an attribute. And for each attribute, we can have, it can be an object itself, or it can be a collection of objects. A collection of object here, like contact. And so JSON flexibility makes actually it's able to be used for both structured and semi-structured data. It is also used by a variety of applications, and for the endpoints, APIs, they are all working with JSON. It is also readable by human. The third type of the file formats for this station I have is XMLs, where we have the tags of entities that is going to be also stored as a plain text, and we will have the tags to just define the elements and attributes, right? And for each element, we may have multiple attributes. It is also like JSON, we have the option of hierarchical document entities. It is also flexible format for being used for structured and semi-structured data. There are still some applications, they represent the data in XML format, and it is also readable by human. It is good to know that all files eventually are going to be stored as binary format, and which is a collection of ones and zeros. Some files are readable by human, and like JSON and XML, and some files are not readable by human, and they are going to be stored as raw binary that basically they are considered as unstructured data, that the data that is stored there has to be rendered and translated by an application to be accessible and understandable for a human. And some examples can be images, videos, audios, and doc files that are going to be opened in a certain application. And so we data professionals just call this kind of files as blobs. You might have heard about that. Although human readable file formats are good options for structured and semi-structured data, and they can be useful for them, but they are not suited for the processing, and they are not cost effective for storage. So here we've got the optimized file formats that are going to enable the features of compression, indexing, and they are going to be efficient in terms of the storage and processing. As an example, we can name Avro, ORC, or Parquet that you might have heard about them in the data industry. So let's review them one by one. The first optimized file format is Avro, which is basically a row-based format that was created by Apache. And basically, each record contains a header that describes the file format in the data section, and that header is in the JSON format. The data is stored as binary information, which is not a human readable format. And an app uses that header information to just extract the field types and how does that look like. It is a good format for processing and for compressing, also minimizing the storage and network bandwidth. The next file format that I have here is ORC. That is basically, unlike what we had on Avro, that was a row-based. Here it is a column-based, which the data is going to be organized into columns. It was developed by Horton's work for optimizing read and write operations in Hive. Hive is a data warehouse and for processing the large volume of data. It's called big data in the Hadoop clusters. And ORC contains stripes of data, and each stripe basically holds the data for columns, and we will have an index into rows in the stripe, and also the data for each row. And in the footer of this stripe, it is containing a statistical information about each column. That can be the count of the data in that column, the sum of them, and an average of the values there, whatever functions like this that is going to aggregate the data for processing and for analyzing. The last file format of the optimized files is Parquet. That like what we had on ORC, it is also a columnar format, which was created by Cloudera and Twitter. So a Parquet basically contains row groups, and data for each column is going to be stored together in the same row group. And we will have, each row group basically contains one or more chunk of data. And it is also including the metadata to just describe the set of rows in each chunk. And it will be used, by the apps to locate the correct chunk and retrieve the data for analysis purposes. Parquet is basically specialized in storing and processing nested data types, which will be a very efficient for compression and also encoding. Thank you for watching this video. If this was helpful for you and you liked it, just give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and share with your friends who can benefit from the content. For the next episode, I will talk about databases and as an storage option, and also we will just compare relational database and non-relational database. Until the next video, take care.